Whip around.
Pain.
Yeah, that is probably how it would feel. All right.
That was good. That was actually good.
Yes.
Oops, I like
Indeed.
that.
All right. Speaking of
What
pain,
a picture. That's a terrible picture. Thank you, Fish, for putting up that ugly picture. The guy, I'm like,
all right. So the Lions on Thursday Night Football knock off the Packers to sweep them for the season series 34-31.
Jared friggin' Goff. That's what killed me in the fantasy league with the Beeve. He completely tortured me, and Jared Goff showed up. 32 for 41, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. By the way, it wasn't a bad interception. It was just completely miscalculated by the wide receiver. But David Montgomery gave you 51 yards, 1 touchdown. You got a little Jahmyr Gibbs, and they spread out the ball so very well. This team is so talented. You had Jameson Williams, 80 yards. Sam Laporta, 54 yards. Tim Patrick, 43 yards. St. Brown, 43 yards. Everybody was doing their job. The Packers, hey, listen, Jordan Love didn't have the best game, 12 for 20, 206 yards, but Josh Jacobs is a beast. 3 touchdowns, just completely dominated the game and the line of scrimmage. They could not. I'm going to tell you right now, the Lions are going to have problems with the Eagles. I said this. If Saquon Barkley stays healthy, watch out. 3 touchdowns. That's what happened, but great game for the Lions. Great coaching.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Lions are the better team, but yeah, I think they were so balanced in everything that they did. And I mean, you've seen in the numbers. I mean, I wish St. Brown would have gone off a little bit more so I could have got some more fantasy points. But, you know, Jameson Williams, 80 yards, Laporta, like you said, 54, Tim Patrick's 43, St. Brown, 43. Even David Montgomery had 33 yards receiving plus 51 rushing. So, and the Lions just overall, I mean, it was a great game, but I think Jordan Love didn't have his greatest game. Christian Watson obviously had 4 for 114, but I think the Lions right now are the team to beat.
All right, next game quickly. It's a meaningless game. The Saints 14-11 over the Giants.
Well, there's nothing to say but the Giants and the terrible quarterback play. I mean, that's all I'm going to say about that. The Saints, they look like they just gave up, and they've given up ever since they fired their coach. It's pretty pathetic. And Drew Lock, he sits there and says, "Hey, you know what? I just love playing baseball." Baseball, he should be playing football. I mean, I'm losing my mind, but yeah, crappy game. Nothing to say about it.
I mean, I don't know if it's just me or if you guys feel, but it's hard when we get down to this point of watching a game that's meaningless unless you have somebody on the fantasy team, so you don't really even pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And that was one of these games you're just like, oh, it's on, but I don't really care. Oh, if I've got so-and-so playing, but I doubt anybody has very many of the people from these
teams. Baseball. I mean, I was lost. I'm thinking baseball with the Giants. I think I'm better off watching what the San Francisco Giants are going to do in in free agency than watching the Giants play football. So that's why I'm lost.
Willie Adamas signed a bigger contract than Daniel Jones did. So.
That's true too. That's definitely true.
All right, another meaningless game. The Jaguars 10-6 over the Titans.
Well, there's really nothing to say about that. But hey, guess what? The Jaguars did the Giants a friggin' favor. That's all I'm going to say about that. And again, the Jaguars played the Tennessee Titans, who obviously sit right in front of the Jets as the sixth worst team in the NFL. I want to see the Tennessee Titans win so the Jets can jump up and get in the top 5. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen when you look at their strength of schedule. Trevor Lawrence is done. Mac Jones stinks. 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, and Will Levis, that's all I can say about that. He's better off milking a cow in Nebraska. There you go.
Pain!
I mean, I think the only bright spot even in this whole game, I mean, obviously Tony Pollard ran for over 100, but other than that, I didn't even know if I paid attention to 93% of this game. Just, it's tough when it's a Mac Jones versus Will Levis matchup. And obviously their records show both being 3-10. So, yeah, there's not much to say about that one.
All right, the Miami Dolphins in overtime knocking off the Jets, 32-26.
What can I say? The Jets pretty much threw away the game. They had a chance to win. They had an 8-point lead going into the fourth quarter. And, Aaron Rodgers had his best game as a New York Jet. 27 for 39. He completed a significant amount of his passes. He looked really, really good. I think he's finally figuring things out with Devontae Adams, as you've seen, and Garrett Wilson. They spread the ball very, very well in the game. 27 for 39, 339 yards and 1 touchdown. And finally, they're starting to give the ball a little bit more to Braylon Allen because Breece Hall didn't play in the game. So I want to see more of Braylon Allen. The defense just completely choked. The Dolphins, I should have started Tua Tagovailoa. Maybe I'm winning. But the Dolphins couldn't run the ball against the Jets. I'm surprised. Tyreek Hill had a good game. Waddle had a good game. I mean, everybody caught the ball. And Jonnu Smith showed up. He couldn't catch the ball all game long until overtime, and he absolutely put the Jets to shame. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think this was hands down Rodgers' best game. And, obviously with Wilson and Adams and, targeting both of them over 10 times. And he spread the ball really, really well. But obviously that defense just kills you. And, Tua, like we said last week too, it's like he hasn't missed a beat. Like he's out here to throw the big middle finger at everybody saying he should retire. And he goes out and, he wasn't sacked once in the game. And, he obviously spread the ball around. And, when you got those two guys to throw it to, it makes it pretty easy. But he's come back since his injury and has actually looked better, to be honest.
Former New York Jets quarterback Sam Darnold leads the Vikings to a 42-21 win over the Falcons.
Boy, I just hate watching this. It makes me sick. He had 5 touchdowns in this game. The last player to throw 5 touchdowns in a game since Sam Darnold was like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Joe Burrow just did it this year.
Yeah,
I meant for the Vikings.
I'm talking about the
okay.
Vikings in that organization. 22 for 28, 347 yards and 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, Sam Darnold is going to get a nice contract in the offseason. It might not be from Minnesota. Hey, I honestly would think about just bringing Sam Darnold in and trading away their young, prospect quarterback. I don't know. It makes more sense to do that for what Sam is doing. Jordan Addison had a great game, 3 touchdowns, 133 yards. We know what Justin Jefferson could do. 132. When you have these guys getting you 5 touchdowns and doing what they're doing, it's pretty sick. 2 interceptions, but he put up the numbers in Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson. He had a good day, but they're not doing anything offensively besides Mooney having a breakout year. Everybody else, Kyle Pitts had 1 catch for 14 yards. This guy was a top 10 pick. Sickening.
Yeah, it's so funny. Think about this. Actually, one of my buddies turned me into a Vikings fan, and never thought in my wildest dreams would have been Sam Darnold that's doing it. It helps when you have Justin Jefferson, and now we've seen what Jordan Addison's done. And I think there was a couple weeks in a row where Justin was obviously getting double teamed, and then that kind of exposed, Jordan Addison to be able to get the ball. But when you can throw it to those guys, and Kirk Cousins didn't play terrible, but they don't really do anything special. If you look at what he's done, obviously Mooney has stepped up and Bijan, but other than that, nobody's really done anything. And I just don't think. Drake London's not terrible, but yeah, I just think obviously the Vikings are better and they have way more weapons than the Falcons do and play better defense. So that's obviously why the score is what it was.
The Eagles squeaking by against the Panthers 22-16. Wes was right about the Carolina Panthers covering the spread.
The Panthers are going to be fine. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I think they're starting to figure it out. I think Canales is a good coach. I think this team's going to be completely different next year. I really do believe this. I think Canales, they got a ton of money to spend in the offseason, and Bryce Young is not the future. I expect them to go after a veteran quarterback. It's not going to be Sam Darnold because he was there already, but maybe they decide to do it. Maybe a Daniel Jones going over there makes a lot of sense. But Jalen Hurts did not have a good day. 14 for 21, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. You need to do more. Saquon is Saquon, 20. for 124. I mean, he's disgusting. But the wide receivers didn't do much because they couldn't throw the ball. It was because of the defense. Carolina's defense is so much better now in the second half than it was in the first. They're a completely different team. Whoever they're matched up against in the next couple of weeks, they can beat them.
Yeah, I think they could. Their defense and obviously from that side of things, you see Adam Thielen in his 11th year. He's still trying to beat Father Time, and he's been impressive. But I don't think Bryce Young is the answer. Chebo got me some points and a touchdown, so that was great. But yeah, you don't have to throw it when you got a guy like Saquon that they have to load the box, and then receivers didn't really do anything, but they didn't also have to. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they figure it out to be able to spread the ball more as far as throwing. And Saquon's going to do what Saquon does, so that's a given. So we'll see how that plays itself out.
All right, Steelers 27-14 over the Browns.
Well, old Russ is russing his way to the playoffs as well. He's rusting his way too. I mean, he's taking the rust, and now I guess he's doing what he needs to do to get this team in the playoffs. 15 for 26, 158 yards. It wasn't the game that he had last week with over 400 yards, but it was good enough. Honestly, the Steelers' defense is just ridiculous, and they can run the ball. They have 3 guys that can run the ball. Cordell Patterson's not even touching the ball enough. Najee Harris, 16 for 53 for 1 touchdown. Jalen Warren, he's on my team, on my fantasy, 9 for 47. He's getting healthy. And he's spreading the ball out, and that's what you expect. There's really nothing to say about the Browns. I think the Browns are looking – this is the coach. I'm telling you, Stefanski's the guy. If he gets fired, which I believe he might, Stefanski's going to be the hottest ticket. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I agree on that. They were talking about him the other day, but Russ is, I think, throwing 2 middle fingers and be like, "Oh, you thought I was done." But you're right. The key to what they do is their defense, and just how quick, aggressive, and just the way they attack the ball. I've had him as my defense all year, so I have been thoroughly impressed with watching them play on that side of the ball, and I think you're right with Stefanski. It'll be interesting to see how his situation plays out.
And in the John Gruden Bowl, 28-13, Bucs beat the Raiders.
Oh, well, it was the John Gruden Bowl, all right. I mean, Baker did enough to give me some points, but hey, Baker the last couple of weeks has not been Baker Mayfield. I'm just going to say that. He was 18 for 29, 295 yards, but he had 2 interceptions. He had 3 touchdowns. I'll say White has figured things out. He's starting to play pretty well. 17 carries for 90 yards and a touchdown. The wide receivers were spread out very, very, very well in this game, and I just think that the Raiders is just a very bad team. They don't know who their starting quarterback is, and they have the number 1 pick. So I expect Shedeur to go to the Las Vegas Raiders or the New York Giants. Whoever gets that number 1 pick is going with Shedeur. There's no question. I still think at the number 2 pick, I could see the Giants drafting the next best quarterback. So I think both teams are going to be looking to get quarterback, but it probably won't be Joe Shane drafting him. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, they're the Raiders. One of my really, really good friends, God bless his heart, because he lives through it. But as you well know, as a Jets fan,
yeah,
you live and die. But we met for lunch and had some tacos and was watching the game. He goes, "I can't believe I still watch this." He goes, "We don't know who our quarterback is. We don't know what the hell's going on. Like, this is embarrassing." He goes, "The only thing I have to root for is Brock Bowers." And he had 1 catch. No, he had how many? 3. He had 3 catches, and he only had 5 targets.
Yeah.
And he only had 5 targets. Like, that dude's a beast.
Yeah, yes.
And it's Baker's Baker. Yeah, I agree with you. He hasn't been great, but at the same time, he needed to be half of what he's been this year to beat this awful Raiders team.
All right, Seattle knocks off Arizona, sweep them for the season, 30-18.
Well, yeah, Seattle. Oh my God, they're probably the worst 8-5 team still going to the playoffs in the NFC. Honestly, I don't really think they're really that good of a team. Geno Smith has had an okay season, 24 to 30, 233 yards and 1 touchdown. They have a great running back core. Obviously, Walker out, but they got, they had a pretty good player over there at 134, 2 touchdowns. Zach has been fantastic all season long. And Jackson Smith Njigba, he has really turned this team. He is the number one guy. It's not DK Metcalf anymore. It's Njigba. And I'm going to tell you this right now. DK is going to be available in the offseason. Expect him to be up for grabs. If you're a Giant fan, you would hope that he becomes available because I can see the Giants going after him. But, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Unfortunately, the Cardinals are not a good team. McBride had a good day. He did. I like McBride. This guy's a star, but nothing else really stands out to me. James Conner, of course. He can run the ball. He's another guy that could be very interested in the offseason.
James Conner's been super consistent. I've had him on my fantasy team a couple times, and it's always consistent. I don't know what to think. I mean, obviously Trey McBride's a dude from the Cardinals side, but I don't know what Marvin Harrison Jr. like. He'll have 40 yards, then he goes off for 100, and then you're like, well, are they going to target him? Is he going to show up? What are they going to do? Is Kyler Murray going to give him the ball? I don't know, but yeah, I think Seattle is a soft 8-5. Let's just put it that way. That's the best way I could describe it. And yeah, when you got a guy coming running for 134 and then coming out of the backfield and getting you 59 as well, it just shows what he is. And DK Metcalf went for 49 and had 6 targets. So they're still using him, but I don't think he's the dude anymore. That's for sure.
All right, the highest scoring game of the season. The Rams 44, the Bills 42.
Josh Allen is so fun to watch. You could argue it's either him or Saquon Barkley. I still think it's Saquon Barkley, but Josh Allen, they're going to give it to the quarterback. 22 for 37, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran the ball, 10 carries, 82 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Just think about this. This man ran 3 touchdowns and threw 3 touchdowns. This guy, as far as fantasy points, probably got you like 70 points this week if you had him on your fantasy team. He's sensational watch. Shakur, 5 receptions, 106 yards. And the Rams, I'm just going to say this about the Rams. Matthew Stafford, with this team, if they can get into the playoffs, beware. Watch out. They can run the ball, and they can catch the ball with Cooper Kupp and Nakua. Oh, man, they're fun to watch.
I agree. I think if they sneak in, they've kind of been obviously running into this Bills team is tough, but getting Puka back and obviously Cooper Kupp and that tandem, they could be dangerous. They can run the ball. Stafford is proven veteran to knows how to win, but you run into this Bills team with Josh Allen, he's a man amongst boys at times. When you're that big, you can move that fast, and obviously being able, like, Shakur didn't even get the most targets. He only had 8. He had 5 for 106, but Amari Cooper had 14 targets, 6 for 95. So, he's got weapons there too, and he's fun to watch. I like to watch him hit a golf ball too. Like, it's crazy. He's just a crazy good athlete, and he's so fun to watch.
The 49ers blow out the Bears 38-13.
Not surprised. I mean, there's nothing to be surprised about it. Nick Bosa didn't play. So, I mean, if you're a Nick Bosa lover, for all you ladies out there, that probably scared you or upset you. But, hey, Brock Purdy had a good day, 20 for 25, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns. They can run the ball in many different areas, including Deebo Samuel had 5 carries for 13 yards. George Kittle had his best day, 6 receptions, 151 yards. Juwan Jennings, 7 receptions for 90 yards. They spread the ball out so very well. I expect them to fight for a playoff spot. I think they come short because, too little, too late. And Caleb Williams looks like he has lost his mind after the game. He didn't cry, ladies and gentlemen, but he was about to.
Yeah, I just think about him running in the stands and crying. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Purdy had a good day. Obviously being able to spread the ball around. And Isaac Orlando, I mean, he might be the real deal. I mean, for a third string running back, I mean, pretty impressive. he missed my parlay by 2 yards. I needed 80 and he got 78, so that kind of hurt a little bit. But yeah, it shouldn't be surprising. The Bears stink, and they need to do something because I don't know if Caleb Williams is the answer either.
I do. I just feel like they screwed him up with the Eberflus thing. They really screwed him up, just like Justin Fields. He might have to be traded, not this year, but a year after if they don't bring in the right guy. Ben Johnson is the right guy. That's the way I go if you want to fix Caleb Williams, because
I've heard he's not a great interviewer.
he's not either is Eric Bieniemy. And I think Eric Bieniemy is definitely going to – if I were the Jets right now, I go strictly Eric Bieniemy right now. I think the fact that nobody wants him and he comes from the Andy Reid tree and what he has done, I think he's better. I think he would be a great fit for the New York Jets, just my opinion.
All right, and lastly, the Kansas City Chiefs squeak it out again, 19-17 over the
The
Chargers.
luckiest team
Oh my gosh!
in the NFL. That's all I'm going to say. They're the luckiest team in the NFL. They definitely have like a deal with Vegas. I mean, seriously, it's sick. This sickens me. I don't even want to watch them anymore. They're going to lose in the playoffs. There is no way this team is going to play like this and squeak into the Super Bowl. No way, no how. I'm telling you. That's all I'm going to say. Patrick Mahomes, you blow.
They made a deal with somebody. I don't know if it's Vegas, the devil. I don't know, because the way they keep winning these games is utterly ridiculous. Like, you couldn't even make it up if you tried.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, literally, I said they're a soft 8-5. The Chiefs are a soft 12-1 because they very well could have lost 4 or 5 of those games.
100%. 100%.
And they would have been 8-5. And you'd be like, yeah, that's, you know what, that's all right. But that's a soft 12-1. I guess a W's a W, I get it, but there wasn't really anything in this game that was super exciting. But other than literally, I just shook my head knowing when it gets to that point, it'll be a blocked field goal off the crossbar. Something will happen to go the Chiefs' way, and it's done it all year, and we've seen it, and it's getting old.
Yeah, I'm constipated just watching them. Let me tell you.
Ooh, I'm a good pooper.
Well, I was too, but with everything going on with my kidney stones, it hasn't really worked out for me very well.